Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Solution Partner panel discussion. My name is Alec Quinn, and I am a Solution Partner Engineer here at Jamf Software. Alongside me today, I have four of our great partners. I have Beyond Identity, I have Ashish Bhatia from Beyond Identity, I have Don Rakuzik from Follett, I have Bjorn from HiddenApp, and I have Trent Seed from Oomnitza. Today, we're going to be telling you a little bit about each of these solutions. We're going to go through kind of the ins and outs of how each one works, how to get started, and why you should care about really these partners. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to our first presenter here, which is Ashish.
Thank you very much, Alec. Hi, everyone. As Alex said, I'm Ashish Bhatia. I'm a solutions architect here in Beyond Identity. We are a cybersecurity startup that came out of stealth mode back in April 2020 with a simple goal of eliminating passwords from all aspects of our life, whether it's the workforce environment, developer environment, or the consumer space, and provide a strong, frictionless multi-factor authentication experience to the end users. We're a modern, decentralized multi-factor authentication platform, and the keyword there being decentralized, because we don't rely on anything that is centrally stored in the form of a shared secret or a centrally stored password to authenticate the users. Because we are talking about authentication, it's important to talk about authorization. And unlike traditional authorization mechanisms, we actually authorize based on the device security posture, some risk signals that we actually collect from the device that the user is trying to access critical applications from. Our architecture is our differentiator. It's been built from ground up using the principles that have been laid out by the Zero Trust framework. We're a completely cloud native platform. There are two simple components to our solution: our infrastructure that runs in AWS today, and a lightweight agent that runs on the device that the user is accessing critical applications from. And Beyond Identity is think of us as a cybersecurity company that is solving an identity problem. And what is that problem? The problem is that everyone hates passwords. No one likes passwords. Admins hate passwords. Users hate passwords. And the only people who like passwords are the bad guys, the attackers. Because if you look at the Verizon data breach report, majority of the breaches is because of credential theft. Even traditional multi-factor authentication mechanisms that are in place today rely on password being the first factor, and they are easily phishable. And so there is a need to provide phishing resistant MFA solutions that are easily adopted by the end users. Adoption rate is also an issue that a lot of organizations face with MFA solutions. And with Beyond Identity, we see upwards of 90% adoption with our user base. So that's the major problem that we are trying to solve. We stop ransomware. We believe in prevention rather than a reaction. So we are able to stop ransomware. We are able to stop credential theft because if there is no password, what are you going to steal? So you can't steal something that the users don't have. And then finally, we also stop account takeovers. And these days, attackers they don't break into your systems; they log into your systems, and that is what Beyond Identity protects. We are the first layer of defense and provide strong, access mechanisms to the end users. So that is what Beyond Identity is all about. And our integration is another critical area. We rely on ecosystem partners like Jamf to ensure that the users are accessing these critical resources, typically behind a single sign-on platform. They're coming in from managed devices, and that's where our partnership with someone like Jamf comes into play. So over to you, Don.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, I'm Don Rakusik. I'm a product director at Follett School Solutions. Follett provides content, technology, and services designed to help schools and districts reach their goals. And the product that I represent at Follett is called Destiny Resource Manager. It's part of our Destiny platform. Destiny is used in over 75,000 schools throughout the US. And our customers, K 12 districts, are trying to manage one to one device programs for students and staff as easily as possible. They use our product Destiny Resource Manager to track which devices are being used at each school and which students or staff those devices have been assigned to. Our integration with Jamf Pro ensures that the staff who are managing these programs have accurate information on which devices are currently owned and active, which eliminates the need for any redundant data maintenance regarding these devices. So this solution makes it easy for the district and school staff to support their one-to-one programs. And since the solution ensures that device costs are minimized, students benefit from having the devices when they need them. So it's really all about kind of controlling costs for these devices and driving accountability for the devices to ensure that that they'll continue on for their useful life for the school district. Our resource manager products integrated with Jamf Pro, leveraging the Jamf and Destiny APIs to ensure that the data regarding the devices is always in sync and accurate across both systems. So that's an overview of how Follett and our Destiny Resource Manager product works with Jamf Pro. I'm going to turn things over to Bjorn next.
Thanks very much. I'm Bjorn Hall. I'm CEO of HiddenApp, and HiddenApp is a security-focused IT asset management platform. Our primary purpose is to protect your organization's MacBooks, iPads, and iPads against theft and loss through our device recovery feature-rich toolset, I'd say. Essentially, we're all about device recovery, not locking and wiping, but you can do that as well. We also protect Windows, Chromebooks, and very soon Android devices. I would say that our bold, overarching guiding mission is to ultimately eliminate institutional device loss. Productivity, time, and cost-saving benefits aside from having a device recovery first policy with HiddenApp at your help, we also believe that every organization should prioritize device retention over replacement for the sake of the planet. I mean, after all, the average laptop costs 400 kilos of CO2 emissions and 190,000 liters of water to be produced. Thus far, organizations with large mobile device fleets who need to know where their devices are in real time, I would say, are one of our main client bases. And as you can possibly imagine, following a bit on from what Follett just said, we are resonating well in the K-12 sector, where IT admins and managers are often tearing their hair out to keep track of where student and faculty devices are at any one time in terms of geolocation. We save them a lot of time and hassle, of course, and indeed money by greatly reducing device attrition, which is pretty high in K-12. We are, but we are obviously spread across other sectors as well. So, from anywhere from healthcare to shipping to construction, we are client-based and built on AWS, and we're a standalone app for macOS, iOS, Windows, as well as a Chrome extension. And we're not an MDM agent, therefore, and thus fully complementary to any MDM, such as Jamf, of course. We provide, we feel, IT admins with unparalleled fleet visibility in terms of mapping, etc., thanks to our geofencing IP tracking features, as well as our ultra-accurate location tracking, which is built on Google Maps. And in terms of how to get set up, I mean, we have a free trial and obviously a demo, etc. should require one. So that's pretty much us in essence. Over to you, Trent.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Trent. I'm one of the co-founders and the chief architect of Oomnitza. And Oomnitza is really the first enterprise technology management solution that enables organizations to manage the lifecycle of all technology assets from onboarding all the way to end of life from a single source of truth. So just a little bit more background on ETM. As we're all well aware, companies have long used systems of record for key processes and key elements of their business. You might have a Workday for HR, you might have a NetSuite for financials, or a CRM such as Salesforce. In today's complex environment, it's imperative that organizations also have a single system of record for their technology, and that's what we're referring to as the ETM solution. By enterprise technology, we're really talking about your endpoints, which are desktops, laptops, mobile phones, and tablets. We're talking about your cloud infrastructure, so any virtual machines or containers running in the cloud, your networking appliances, both physical and virtual, as well as your SaaS-based applications, as well as any accessories or peripheral devices that an employee has. Today, this data exists in silos. We all love and use Jamf as our best-of-breed solution to manage our Apple environment. More than likely, we also have some Windows devices, in which case we might have a Microsoft Intune or SCCM. We likely have some Android devices as well, which could warrant an MDM such as Workspace ONE or others. You may have a supplementary agent on your endpoints as well for security. So whether you're talking CrowdStrike or Carbon Black or Sophos, there's all this additional data that is being fed into these silos, which makes any kind of holistic reporting or holistic process orchestration incredibly difficult to do. And that is where Oomnitza enters in, and we actually are essentially sitting on top of your existing environment, your existing solutions, and we integrate everything together to give you a true single pane of glass into the entirety of your enterprise technology. So we're looking at a single device. We have a unified record. We can see all of the rich data coming in from Jamf, but we can also see the purchasing data. We can also see the security endpoint data. We can also see the service desk data. So by bringing everything together, we finally enable customers to really automate and implement end-to-end business processes that take information in one system and take action in another system. We could see that, Sophos maybe says the antivirus signatures are out of date. After a period of time, we could automate and reach out to Jamf and actually lock or isolate the device.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for giving us that introduction to your products. It was great to hear. Love just hearing about what everyone's doing. I do have a few additional questions, though, that I'd love to hear your takes on. So first one is fairly simple. I'd like to hear about a real-world situation where some sort of problem was solved with your product. And I'm going to go in the order that we have already been kind of going in. So Ashish, if you don't mind taking that first, I'll kick it over to you.
Thank you, Alec. Yeah, so in our case, Alec, we had a high-tech Silicon Valley company that is doing some good work in the cloud storage and data analytics space come to us and request that they had a security and compliance requirement that the employees, remote workers, and contractors access critical applications in the cloud, as well as the developers commit codes from managed devices. And this is where our integration with Jamf came into play. The majority of the engineering workforce were using Mac OS and iOS devices, and we were able to leverage the Jamf Pro APIs and query the Jamf cloud every single time a code commit was made or the users were accessing critical applications. So real-time query into the Jamf cloud using the Jamf Pro APIs at the time of authentication is where we were able to come in and solve that problem for our customer.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your answer. I'm going to keep the ball rolling here, and I'll kick it over to Don.
Sure, thanks. So again, our customers are school districts, and school districts typically manage thousands of devices used by students and staff. And as you can imagine, there's not much time at the beginning of the school year to ensure that students have what they need in terms of a device. The staff is really stretched for time, and they need to be ready to support the distribution of those devices as quickly as possible. So the ability to load data into our application regarding which devices are owned by the school district ensures that the school staff is ready to distribute those devices with minimal effort. So as the year progresses and those devices move from location to location with students who often transfer schools, there's a lot of mobility, and especially in large school districts, or the devices are lost or stolen, those updates flow right from our Destiny Resource Manager product into Jamf Pro and vice versa. So it all makes it easier to manage the one-to-one program and help to ensure that replacement costs are minimized and students get the best service possible from the staff and from the school district.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your answer. And coming from a school background myself, I can say that would have been a huge help. The next, I'm going to kick it over to Bjorn. Same question. I'd like to hear about a real world situation.
Sure. Well, we have a fairly notable case study from our end of based in a school district in Pennsylvania that came to deploy HiddenApp across their district. It also has a Jamf angle, which is why I thought I'd mention it today. The district serves over 3,000 students and 5 schools plus 425 odd staff. COVID hit and their IT department was there scrambling to go fully remote, and they had to move the whole network from their own central base server and set up a cloud-based NDM, which happens to turn out to be Jamf. But they also needed to address the persistent and really annoying issue of students regularly mislaying devices. And having reviewed a bunch of fleet security tools, I'm pleased to say they settled upon us at HiddenApp, and they needed a quick fix. And given that we're quick to deploy, and also they needed something which is cost effective, and we do have obviously special K-12 pricing, we're able to accommodate them. And if I may quote the director of technology about their specific issue, it was things like a kid would say, "Hey, I lost my laptop. I don't know where it is." And then we simply log in and we tell them, "It's at your house," or "It's in the classroom 20. Everything is so much easier. There's no need to panic and call out the resource officer to investigate because of our software." So with their entire fleet fully remote, HiddenApp gives them a peace of mind, essentially, that they control all their devices from one, from a security perspective, from one easy, user-friendly central dashboard. And I'm pleased to say that HiddenApp has become an integral part of their school district and their IT security policy and practice. And the Jamf HiddenApp integration has made fleet management at the district even simpler, and they're very happy about that. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Trent or Alex.
No, that's exactly what I was going to do. So I appreciate the handoff. Last but certainly not least, I have Trent. Again, same question.
Thank you. When organizations first deploy a system like Oomnitza for enterprise technology management, the very first thing they're achieving is basically that unified visibility, right? They can finally see across all the systems. But having visibility really isn't enough, right? You can use that information to drive security, compliance, auditing, even employee experience. So we have customers coming at us from all angles, but I'd say one of the really key ones and area that we're uniquely positioned to do really well is offboarding and onboarding. We know who has which devices for which purposes, again, both physical as well as cloud resources, and we have direct integrations into all of your SaaS products. So in that case, when an employee leaves, it's essential that we reclaim all of their hardware, all of their accessories. But then on the software side of things, it's simply not enough to just delete the user. From a business continuity perspective, it's essential that we properly retain that data and transfer it over to another individual, right? You wouldn't just delete a user in Google. You would transfer their Google Drive documents, maybe update calendar, set an auto reply. You would have a granular process that kind of varies per SaaS system. And using enterprise technology management, you can retrieve all of those hardware devices as well as those SaaS licenses and avoid additional spend. And that goes for your cloud resources as well. So offboarding is a big problem that we solve today.
Awesome. Thank you all for your answer there. I do have one additional question, kind of bringing it back to, our conference here. I've obviously heard Jamf mentioned a few times here in regards to the integration, but really I want to get to the kind of the bottom of why Jamf. What does the partnership bring to the table? What is the benefit to customers, and why should they care about these two solutions working together? And I'll go in the same order that we've been working in. So Ashish, if you would like to go first, I'll hand it over to you.
Sure, definitely. So, a couple of things have changed as we come out into this post-pandemic world. The access paradigm has changed. The whole the applications are moving to the cloud, and the workers are remote, and they're accessing these cloud applications from BYOD devices. That's become the norm. And now, in the absence of devices not connecting on-prem, if you will, over a VPN and accessing these cloud applications, enterprises need control over which devices get to access these applications. There has to be a level of control there, and this is what inspired our partnership with Jamf. A lot of our customers came to us with devices that are currently managed by Jamf, and Jamf beyond identity enhances, if you will, the investment that has already been made into a tool like Jamf, and it is able to provide us rich data to tell us at the time of accessing these critical applications if the user is actually accessing them from a managed device or not. And that's a pretty big piece, because that kind of ensures that someone sitting in the remote part of the world is not able to access critical applications on an unmanaged device. And we are able to control access. So the benefit to the customer is enhanced security. Benefit to the end user is a frictionless login experience.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your answer. Don, if you would like to answer the same question, I'll hand it over to you.
Sure. So school districts use a variety of devices for their students and staff. As you're all aware, schools are using Chromebooks, they're using Apple devices, they're using Windows devices. We know that Apple devices are an important part of our customers' one-to-one programs. And we know that typically if they're using Apple devices, they're going to use Jamf Pro to manage those devices. So we wanted to ensure that we could leverage that data in Jamf Pro to make it easy for Destiny Resource Manager to be implemented side by side with Jamf Pro in our mutual districts. So this, again, it just reduces redundant data entry for our customers. It ensures that they can minimize the cost related to these devices, that they can drive accountability down to individual students for the devices that they use. And we were really just interested in ensuring that our product kind of played nice in the technical architecture of the school district, and that architecture would typically include Jamf. So it was important for us to have the integration in place, and we appreciate the support from Jamf.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate all our partners, and it's great to have friends. So I'm going to hand it over to Bjorn. Again, same question.
Well, about 18 months ago, as we moved up market to serve more enterprise level customers and indeed acquired the likes of Southern Lehigh in the process, it was clear that most of our biggest customers were using Jamf as their NDMM while deploying HiddenApp alongside it to kind of boost their fleet security toolset. So it just seemed a bit of a no-brainer for us to better serve our customers, to build out an integration, and it just made a lot of sense. So in essence, the integration is very seamless, and it just makes it so much easier when registering devices and keeps the HiddenApp account dashboard up to date with latest assignees and device types, etc. And yeah, we did have customers asking us for the integration, so it's just a bit of a win-win for all concerned, really. And the kind of type of customers that benefit most from this are the ones that are taking really device recovery really seriously and want to take it to the next level. And our integration just really helps with that, working in tandem with Jamf. So and again, we're also very happy to be working with Jamf and with etc. So thanks again for the marketplace listing.
Thank you very much, Bjorn. And again, I'll hand it back over to Trent as kind of our last answer here.
Great, thank you. So I want to say Jamf is probably our very first integration. And as you can imagine, being an agentless solution, our integration with vendors are absolutely key. So our very early customers, as well as I'd still say the majority of our customers, are absolutely gravitating towards Jamf as the best of breed solution to manage their Apple devices. So we've had the pleasure of working with their team and their API over the last 5+ years. And with that, we've been able to deliver a lot of value to our customers. And again, not just the visibility of your Apple and non-Apple devices in a single system, but we really have a lot of workflows and automations that you can now take advantage of and construct in Oomnitza on behalf of your Jamf data. So if devices aren't checking in for a certain period of time and they eventually become stale, you could have workflows in Oomnitza reach out to the machine owner or some kind of escalation process before we actually remove that device in Jamf. So from a data hygiene perspective, as well as a more holistic way to model your security and lost stolen use cases across Jamf and your other connected systems, an ETM like Oomnitza really makes it easy to use. And of course, Jamf having such a flexible API makes it very easy for us to carry that forward as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all again for your answers. We've obviously heard about what each of these products does, how it works, who it benefits. Kind of the next step, at least in my mind, is how to get started. So we spun up these quick links. Each of these links obviously is for each individual partner here on the panel. They'll lead to the marketplace listing on the Jamf Marketplace. From there, they'll have more information on just how does it work, what does it do, and there's also links to get started, documentation, all that kind of fun stuff. So I'd encourage you, if you were interested in any of these partners, just search up the link. They're going to be all happy to help get you more information, get you started, get you into a solution that works for you and helps you out in the long run. So with that, that's what we had for today. I want to thank all of my panelists here. I really appreciate you guys being on. Made my job easy, and it was great to just see you all and talk to all our partners. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.